Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Nobody wants to sell their XRP. Not literally, but look, if you look at what's been happening, especially in recent days, there's been a tremendous uptick in the number of new XRP accounts created. Like, it's somewhere in the neighborhood, and it varies a little bit, of course, but about 2,000 new accounts per day. In fact, just a few days ago, I saw one outlier day that was close to like 2,600 new accounts on the XRP ledger in one day, as we edge closer to having a total of 5 million XRP accounts, which is a big jump up from when I jumped into crypto, and there were, closer to, I don't know, 680, 690,000 accounts, somewhere around there, when I jumped into crypto about 6 years ago. And also, there's been a concern, and I want to talk about this in this video. There's been a concern about the Zha Network. Remember that? The XRP ledger sidechain? It was originally had a coin that was called XRP Plus. Now it's just the Zha coin, I guess, XAH for short. That's the ticker symbol anyway. And there's all sorts of concerns that people have had, which I think are, it's okay to bring it up, but I think that in the end, they're not concerns that, you should have once you've analyzed all the facts, but they're concerns that since there's a burn to mint feature, which means that you can actually burn your XRP to receive Zha tokens, there was a concern that it was going to lead to a flow over there, and developer activity was going to head over to that chain. And so I want to touch on that because based on the price action since the Zha Network has gone live, I think it's very clear that you don't need to be worrying about that. Let's just say that. There was also this headline from the crypto basic. Freelance site Golance confirms using XRP to pay freelancers. And then there was also this headline. Expert says it's strange that XRP doesn't have a spot ETF application despite legal clarity. And so as everybody knows, there are multiple Bitcoin spot ETFs that have been applied for. Waiting to hear the conclusion out with the SEC, but I'm optimistic we're going to see some very positive news in the not too distant future. And then the other day, we got news that BlackRock's actually pushing for a spot Ethereum ETF. So why not a spot XRP ETF? I got a couple thoughts on that I want to share with you. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so into the first piece. Freelance site Golance confirms using XRP to pay freelancers. And so this is just further proof that there is absolutely a place for a jurisdictionless cryptocurrency that is just fantastic for payments, and that is XRP. Michael Brooks, the CEO and founder of the online freelance marketplace Golance, has shared insights on how his company leverages XRP to facilitate rapid payments to freelancers worldwide. In an exclusive interview with Ripple, Brooks unveiled Golance's innovative use of XRP to enable seamless payments to freelancers on its platform via Ripple's payment solution, RippleNet. Brooks first highlighted that Golance, a platform entirely composed of freelancers, is dedicated to addressing the unique challenges freelance workers face globally. He stressed the company's commitment to developing global technologies and tools that aid paying freelancers efficiently. In the interview, Brooks detailed Golance's strategic collaboration with RippleNet. He noted that the freelance platform focused on underserved corridors where payment challenges are most acute. And so, folks, this is obviously Ripple figured out in the earliest of days what they should be focusing on when it comes to, positioning XRP the way that they are. They're looking at high friction situations. So they're not starting with, like the big dollar figures. They're talking about low dollar value, but high velocity effectively. And so you're also by removing friction, because payments are so fast and cheap, you're encouraging people to make more transactions. And so XRP is just going to be needed that much more as a result. But it's frankly low-hanging fruit. And now we have the technology to make this stuff happen here. But as I've said, if XRP has even just one use case, and it's got many, but even if there's just one use case for which it's being adopted, that's all it takes for it to have long-term viability. And so Ripple's obviously found this, and here's a real-world example. That's why this is a real human on your screen, the founder and CEO of Golance, helping actual people and reducing costs. It's fantastic. And so they note here, check out the following. Brooks illustrated the impact of the partnership by citing the example of a freelancer earning $50 a week in the Philippines. The Golance CEO emphasized that such a person cannot afford to wait 3 days to receive payment for services rendered. Well, how about that? And with the way that this historically has worked, you're talking about a longer waiting period and lots of fees. And so they said here, quote, would you like to pay 5 to 10% of your salary just to the bank that sends you the money, end quote. And so that was a rhetorical question there, because they noted that typically these fees would be like 5 to 10%. So again, it's like these are concepts that we're aware of when we talk about within the XRP community, but it's good to put a face to this. So there's the CEO on your screen. You can see like this is a real life situation. Like this is actually happening. And so the idea that XRP would not continue to be, long-term viable, or that it wouldn't be one of the biggest currencies, cryptocurrencies in terms of market cap, if you fast forward into the future, it just seems silly to me. And I know that things can change over time, but unless there's going to cease to be a place for a decentralized cryptocurrency that is technologically sufficient, has an open market price to solve these problems, okay, fine, if that's not needed one day, but I find that highly improbable. And then there's also this. So there's the Zha Network, as I was talking about at the outset of the video. Look, I'm not going to go in a whole rigmarole about this. I've kind of said my piece on this, but I just wanted to illustrate the point here that because there were so many people that had this concern that because of Zha and it's getting launched and the XRP Ledger developers launching this thing, it just means that it's going to pull developer activity away from the XRP Ledger. And I made the point that, look, if you've already got something that's working on the XRP Ledger, you're not likely to just rip that off the XRP Ledger with all of the implementation that you have and all the liquidity, everything else that comes along with it. And by the way, you can't program liquidity in a new coin. You're unlikely to just take that off the XRP Ledger, plop it on a new unproven chain that nobody has, where there's almost no liquidity and nobody's using it today. And this is not me slamming Zha. It's just a matter of fact statement here. The odds of that happening were low. I mean, let's just round down to zero. It's not happening. No, this hasn't happened anywhere. Anybody that's going to use the Zha network, it's because it has smart contract functionality. And so if you already have something functioning on the XRP Ledger, and a lot of people are using it for various payments applications, that's great. It's already doing what you want it to do. So if anything goes to Zha, it's something that wouldn't have lived on the XRP Ledger anyway, because there's no layer 1 smart contract functionality on the XRP Ledger anyway. It wasn't ever going to happen. So either Zha is going to solve the problem, or you're going to have developers jump to an unrelated blockchain. And that would have been worse, because it's good to have this as a sidechain. Now, let's tackle this, because here you can see XRP community member Minus Wells wrote, how low do we take this? And he's showing a screen grab of the price of Zha at 8.9 cents when he shared this just a bit ago. 8.9 cents at the time, and it's a hair higher at the time that I'm recording this. And then this was reposted by attorney Bill Morgan, who wrote, the 1-to-1 XRP to Zha mint doesn't look too good now, given the difference in the price between them. All right, and so the way that this would work is that there was a burn to mint program, meaning that if you want to have Zha tokens, you could purchase them on an exchange. I know they're available on BitTrue, for example. They have an open market there, so you can actually go to BitTrue and you can purchase Zha tokens. Another way you can get Zha tokens is you can purchase XRP, or maybe have our XRP already, and then you can burn that and receive Zha tokens on a 1-to-1 basis. But the thing is, XRP is currently worth, what, 60-something cents? So then you burn your XRP that's worth 60-something cents to have a Zha token that at the time that the screen grab was taken was worth 8.9 cents. That sounds like a bad deal, right? That sounds like a real bad deal. So nobody's going to do that, right? So there's this concern, and again, all it's really doing, though, I mean, if people did that, that would just make XRP more scarce anyway, so even then it wouldn't be negative if they were doing it, which is another reason this whole thing was silly. Obviously, right? But, even if Zha were more, like, this would be good for XRP, and that's why I want to illustrate this point. Say Zha was worth $1 right now. Okay, what would people do? If Zha were trading for $1 right now instead of 8.9 cents, you know what people would do so that they don't have to pay $1 for Zha? They'd buy XRP, which is 60-something cents, and then they'd burn a bunch of that, and then they'd receive the Zha way cheaper than if they purchased it on BitTrue. And so that would be good for any developer that wants to build on Zha, because they're getting it cheaper by utilizing XRP instead. And then it burns XRP, making XRP more scarce. So it's a net plus for XRP. None of this was ever going to be bad, just to be clear here. Now, in reality here, it would take a ton of success and a ton of demand on the Zha side for this to ever have any sort of impact on XRP or the XRP ledger. So it may be the case that pretty much no one really ever uses burn to mint. But what I'm saying is, if Zha wildly takes off with this smart contract functionality, and who knows, crypto's crazy, if it actually does, all I'm saying is it could only possibly be good for XRP. There is no downside here. Very clearly. All right, so I just wanted to highlight that now that we've got a real world example of what's going on here. And then the last story from the Crypto Basic. Expert says it's strange that XRP doesn't have a spot ETF application despite legal clarity. The expert considers it strange that there is still no application for a spot XRP exchange-traded fund despite the coin receiving legal clarity. Founder of Dizer Capital, Yassin Mubarak, has expressed concern over the absence of a spot exchange-traded fund application for XRP. Notably, the quest to launch a spot ETF for crypto assets intensified yesterday after the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, filed an application with the US SEC to roll out a spot-traded Ethereum fund. The asset manager had previously applied to launch a spot Bitcoin ETF, joining other top financial institutions like Fidelity Investments and Grayscale in the race. And so here's the post from Yassin Mubarak. He wrote, "Many applications for Bitcoin spot ETF, and now there's a new ETH spot ETF application. I find it peculiar that there's no spot ETF application for the only crypto with actual legal clarity. That crypto is XRP." Yeah, and so look, fair enough statement. I actually don't find it peculiar. And it's not like a crazy thing that he's stating. Like, it's perfectly reasonable to be asking this question and to think that it should have happened by now. I just happen to have a different opinion. And I'll tell you why. I don't think that legal clarity is the only concern here. I think that it's a fact that there's just not sufficient demand for XRP right now. So consider Bitcoin with a market cap of $700 and something billion, right? Then you've got ETH, whatever its market cap is, 200. I think it's 200 and something billion, isn't it? Here, let me pull this. Yeah, like 244 billion. And then you've got XRP with a $35 billion market cap. So, look, I think that it's a virtual certainty there will be an XRP ETF at some point in the future, but I'm just saying there isn't sufficient demand. There's a bunch of coins in that range, and so legal clarity, I mean, look, if you're going with ETH and Bitcoin, and you already know that those two don't have legal clarity, that's probably not the biggest factor. So if BlackRock's going with those two, the legal factor is a non-factor for them. Okay, so we can throw that out, right? Because they are aware of this. They know there's no legal clarity for Bitcoin and ETH, right? They're not stupid. But there is for XRP, so that's not a factor for them. Okay. So then what is a factor? I just think it's the fact that there's not sufficient demand, that the crypto asset class isn't that big. Eventually there will be way more demand for XRP. We're just early. And this is not a slam against XRP, and you know that because it's my favorite crypto, right? But think about it. It's good because that means we are early. I don't want to be in a world where it's already decided that XRP makes sense, because that means it's worth a fortune. I want to be here before and then grow into the point where it's worth a fortune so that I can sell it for, life-changing wealth, basically. That's the plan. That's what we're trying to do here, right? So I think that's pretty much it. And then the only other thing that ever crossed my mind, and I actually asked about this, a month or two ago on X. I posted something about this, and I was just like, because I'm just seeking knowledge because I don't know. I know that there's a big concern when it comes to the SEC approving ETFs about market manipulation. And I was wondering if perhaps it could be an issue that Ripple holds so much XRP, even though the vast majority of it's in escrow, and I know that. And look, I don't care that they have a ton of XRP. I've made my stance very, very publicly known. I don't care. I understand potentially I could get burned and they could just start dumping it, but that doesn't make sense to me because that wouldn't be good for them. It's in Ripple's best interest to not just start dumping on the market. But that being said, from a technical perspective, that's something they could do, right? And so I'm wondering if, since that's something the SEC, my understanding is they have to factor that in, the concerns with any potential big moves like that. I'm wondering if that's something that could potentially be a hurdle, even if a firm wanted to have an XRP ETF right now. And so who knows? Maybe somebody's going to surprise us, and we're going to have, even though XRP's only got a $35 billion market cap, way smaller than ETH and Bitcoin, maybe we get surprised and somebody tries to move forward. But I still wonder, like, are these not? Is that not a factor? And I don't have. I'm saying I literally don't know because I don't come from that world. I don't have any sort of career background that would allow me to have that knowledge, and it's not easy to ascertain exactly what the answer is. And so I asked this question on X, and I got responses, but there's a bunch of people saying, yeah, I don't know. Right? So I can't answer that. If you listening know, drop a comment below, but I honestly don't have the answer to that one, if that would be a factor, and if so, to what degree. But again, I personally, on a personal level, I don't give a damn. I don't care how much XRP Ripple has. Doesn't matter. I just care that it's being adopted. It's actually useful. To me, it looks like the writing's on the wall in terms of it being long-term viable. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yes, ultimately, if there's more demand, I could certainly see a world where eventually there's all sorts of ETFs for a bunch of different cryptocurrencies, XRP being one of them. Yeah. But in the short term, does it surprise me that we're not seeing that? No, because I don't think that legal clarity is something that's being sufficiently considered, or if it is being sufficiently considered, the conclusion that they came to is that no, it doesn't matter. Especially after the ruling from Judge Torres. Maybe that's something that they factored in, right? The asset itself is not a security. If it applies to XRP, maybe thinking, well, it probably applies to ETH then, right? Let me know what you think. Those are just my initial thoughts. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.